Hello, everybody. This is Dom from Upstate Supernatural, and I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in for a new episode of Interview with the Ghost Hunter. This episode of Interview with the Ghost Hunter, we have a guest actually pretty local to where I am. She lives towards Syracuse area, and you've been doing the ghost hunting thing for quite a while. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Tammy to Interview with the Ghost Hunter.
Hi.
And Tammy, if you could let everybody know what your name is and the group that you work with.
Sure. I am Tammy Rosenfield. I am founder of Salt City Paranormal Investigations out of Syracuse, New York. I am also a writer for Paranormal Enlightenment magazine. It's a new magazine coming out. And I also do my own radio show on DTM Wicked Radio called The Sisterhood of Women in the Paranormal.
Very cool. Next question I have for you is, how long have you been investigating within the paranormal?
I have been I experienced paranormal all my life as a child, and I started when I was 12. I took my sisters and cousins out to Happy Valley in that area to look for Bigfoot and UFOs. So, and then I didn't really formally start investigating until 2010.
And what caused you to become interested within the field of the paranormal or ghost hunting?
I experienced stuff all my life, and there was no one to help us. And, just a lot of ongoing things throughout my entire life. And when actually Taps did their show, I'm like, Taps did their show, I was like, people do this? People actually talk about ghosts now? And I was like in awe because I experienced this stuff all my life, and then it was out there on TV, and I was like truly amazed. I'm like, the first time I saw Ghost Hunters, I was like, my mouth dropped because I was like so excited, because I used to get shunned when I talked about ghosts and things like that. So
now, a lot of us have particular stories that are interesting that have happened to us within the field. Is there a certain story that kind of comes to your mind that you'd like to share? It could just be something that happened during an investigation, or
sure,
something in general.
I was investigating the Palmyra Museum and Historical Society, and my team and I went into and they have a general store. It's the second building there. There's 3 buildings you can investigate with Bonnie Hayes, and we went to the second building, which is the general store, and then the people that owned the general store lived above the store. So the store was all locked up, and the alarm system was on. Bonnie opened it, and immediately it smelled like cherry pipe smoke. Immediately. And so there was no smoke, but it smelled like someone was just smoking it. So Bonnie and I looked around, and we went everywhere throughout the entire building, and we could not find anybody smoking it. It was stronger upstairs. And then, so we were upstairs in the apartment, and a couple of my team members were sitting at the dining room table, and there are reports, that the lady there doesn't like her dining room table messed with. So they saw a white mist start to form and a male voice say, "Get out."
Yeah, I've heard tons of accounts of the Palmyra Historic Society, actually.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most notable in the area, beyond like rolling hills and stuff like that.
Right.
And how many investigations would you say you've probably taken part in?
Total throughout, I used to belong to two other teams, a local team in Syracuse and another local team in Auburn, actually. So I would say I have at least 20 cases under my belt.
Okay. And then during an investigation, I like to ask this because a lot of individuals like to use different tools. During an investigation, is there certain equipment that you prefer to use? Not necessarily like, just what's your personal preference of the equipment that you like to utilize out in the field?
I would say my night vision camcorder. I just love that thing.
What about like K2 meters or
Uh,
the other extreme toys? I would say.
um, See, K2s can be subjective, especially if you have old wiring or a cell phone on or things like that. So, yeah, no. No, I'm not impressed by them really. No.
Okay. I just one of the kind of questions that some
Yeah.
people swear by the K2, others they
Yeah.
swear by just a pad of paper and a pen. I mean, instead
Yeah.
of using
Sometimes
electronics.
I go old school and if I do a private residential case, I like to at least sit for at least 45 minutes in the dark with no equipment on. And just because, when you experience the paranormal, private case, they don't have this equipment we do. So I like to turn everything off because I believe sometimes that equipment can give you sort of like tunnel vision and just sit in the living room on the couch and just listen and get a feel of the place without any equipment.
No, that's really awesome.
Hmm.
Absolutely. What do you find to be the greatest part about doing an investigation? I have asked this because I have seen with a lot of groups and a lot of individuals, some individuals like to just ghost hunt, and then some individuals like to go through just the evidence. So I was just kind of curious, what do you find to be the greatest part with doing an investigation? Is it looking up the back history, or going through the footage, or the actual thrill of being there?
The evidence is tedious. I can't stand going through evidence. And you know how many so-called dust can I look at through evidence,
Right, right.
It looks like snow. Um, the best feeling is knowing that you have helped out a family and that they're very appreciative that you came in there and they're not scared to be in their home anymore. That's what I get out of it.
That's awesome. And actually, out of all the interviews, I think you're one of the first to kind of put that out there, which is pretty cool.
Thank you.
To any new people that might be interested in joining the field, is there any tips that you might have for them if they're interested in trying to, partake in becoming a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator or so forth? I mean, there's so many titles we can be called. So
Don't do it. No, just kidding. I would say, yeah, there are several. And when I teach ghost hunting classes, this is what I tell them. Get in it for the right reasons. You're not going to get your 15 minutes of fame on TV. I'll tell you that right now. That's rare to even get on TV. Get a mentor. Learn from a team first before you decide to go out on your own. And research. Just research, and learn to debunk. Don't go into a home and claim dust is a spirit orb because, the paranormal community is very tough, and you start claiming that dust is spirit orbs, they're gonna rip you apart.
Yeah,
And,
I personally, long time ago, I took a picture with my camera,
mhm,
and I was outside. It was raining, but I was indoors, and I took a picture of the rain as it dropped. And I mean, just in itself, it's fascinating seeing that, and then
right.
comparing it to a person that has captured possibly something they thought was a spirit orb, and then to compare to the two, you actually see the similarities and how it can be, you know, hard to see the difference.
Mhm.
And what is your what's your viewpoint on things like spirit boxes? The PSB-7, all the different radios that you would scan with to try to use as a spirit box. Is that something you feel you like to utilize, or something that you feel is beneficial? Or
I I do use the Echo Box. I did get good results with the Echo Box one time in a home, but personally, I can't stand the white noise. It drives me insane when you're doing an EVP session and all you hear is this white staticky noise. It just drives me insane. And, they can be subjective. They're scanning radio stations. You can pick up anything, any word. So I personally use Echo Vox occasionally, but otherwise, no.
yeah, for an investigation wise, I think I've used the Echovox a little more than some of the other ones
Hmm.
out in the field, just because it does just spit out fragments. So I mean, if you
Right,
capture like a full sentence, it's pretty cool.
right.
But yeah, I definitely agree with you on the. It almost contaminates your audio. You
Yes,
almost want to do a session just with a spirit box, turning off your actual standalones, and
yes,
then go ahead and do it, because otherwise it's it excruciatingly tough to listen to when you're going through audio.
yes, yes. Oh, drives me insane, the white noise.
What about Ouija boards? What's your viewpoint with Ouija boards? I mean, everybody kind of has a lot of the investigators. Some like to use them, some don't. Some feel they're dangerous. Some feel they're just a
Right.
toy. Just kind of curious, and I do ask everybody the same set of questions.
I personally don't use one. When I go into a private home, I don't want to whip out a Ouija board. That's my personal view on them. I think they're just a toy, but I will. But this is the thing. Anytime you communicate with ghosts or spirits, you're opening the door to anything coming through. If you question them with a digital recorder or anything like that, you're opening the door. Anytime you communicate with a spirit, you can open the door. And that's my view on Ouija boards. You know,
Hmm.
you take that risk anytime you communicate. But personally, I use other things that are like a Ouija board. So,
What about is there certain devices or applications you feel work better than other ones that are out in the field? Like, have you found certain tools to be uh, more accurate with trying to find responses?
um,
'Cause I know you did say you like to use your camera more so
yes.
than anything else. But like,
I like to experiment a lot with things like I will take black light strobe lights and put in an area and see if I get pick up anything like that. Or I just like experimenting with even like children's toys that light up or things like that. See if they can get up to light up the children's toys or um, anything like that.
just out of curiosity, have you ever used the EM pump? I personally haven't, but I have heard quite a few people that have used them.
No, but I've seen it being used and good results with it. Yes.
And what would you say possibly? I do try to give with any of the interviews, I like to try to put out the raw, real story for everybody. What would you say you feel is the worst thing that you ever came across within the paranormal field, within ghost hunting?
The people that the paranormal community itself, it can be really drama filled and very very, I don't know, very stalkerish. People attack other teams and things like that. Yeah, I would say it's the paranormal community. It's tough being a team out there right now. You have other teams spying on each other. Yeah, that's what I would say is the toughest thing right now.
No, I mean, that's really a really different viewpoint. So yeah. I definitely, I can't disagree to that. I mean, there's definitely a lot of that out in the field as well.
There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of, like, I know a team, a local team, a big team in central New York that threatened another smaller team because they went in to inquire about investigating something, and yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I like to ask this. I do the interview, the skeptic interview as well, and I like to ask them what they think, what their thoughts are on the afterlife. So what I asked the ghost hunter is, what is your theory of why or how a ghost or a spirit exists?
That's a good question. I think they have unresolved issues if it's just a regular spirit or ghost. If it's something negative or demonic, I think it's there just to create havoc in someone's life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying demonic is like every single case is demonic. That is rare. 1%, I would say. But, yeah.
And then, were you ever, per se, a skeptic or a non-believer? I mean, have you always kind of believed that there was something in the shadows or there were, spirits or ghosts that were present?
I saw my first ghost at age 5. So, and I've always had experiences with ghosts all my life, so...
Yeah, I think I was 8 or 10, something like that, when I first came across it. And now I'm going to open up the questions to the viewers. Anybody that's viewing, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask us. Love to see what you guys have as questions. I'm going back through the chat, seeing if there's any questions right now. Now, actually, a good question I actually got asked to me is, what's your bucket list for places you like to investigate?
Oh, I have a major bucket list. I would love to investigate over in Ireland, a castle. That is my dream. That is my dream, is to investigate a castle in Ireland. I think I would like to investigate the Stanley Hotel. That would be amazing. I think the penitentiary down in Pennsylvania.
Oh, the Penhurst? Is that? I'm pretty sure.
That's the asylum. Penhurst.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The Penn State.
Yes.
Penitentiary?
Yes.
Isn't that's the one that has Al Capone had his cell there? Yeah, that's definitely one I would love to go down and do as well.
And the one in West Virginia, I would love to investigate.
Oh,
So hopefully by next year.
Trans-Allegheny, I believe.
Yes.
And I'm just actually somebody already asked the same question that I. Eastern State is.
Yes, Eastern State.
Yeah, Nikki Paranormal's in here. She said Eastern State Penn.
Yep. I already investigated Pennhurst twice. That was on the bucket list. I already investigated Lizzie Borden. That was on the bucket list. So.
Yeah, I'd love to get to Alcatraz. Stanley is definitely something I'm looking into, actually.
Nice.
And is there a certain location that you've already investigated that you would say is like one of your favorite spots, without giving away any confidentiality, of course? But do you have like a favorite location?
Yeah, we can talk about public cases. I'm sorry, instead of the residential cases. I think Pennhurst was intense. The first time I went, we got a lot of. I was with Joe Chin and several other friends, and we got a lot of activity during that time. And Gettysburg is very intense. Every time I turned around, I was having activity there. So.
And a question that was asked is, what is the location you investigated that you felt you had the most activity? I know a lot of individuals actually have said that more of the residents that they investigate are some of the highest activity than some of the
Yes.
public locations.
Yes. We investigated something up north one time, and we were setting up our DVR system, and on camera, and I was with a psychic. We kept saying this shadow guy come towards the doorway, peer around the doorway, and go back. And he kept doing that. Male team member and the psychic went upstairs, and he was bothering the kids. So the psychic asked him, "So you like messing with the little kids?" And he said, "Get the fuck out."
Wow.
So, in a deep voice. So that was really intense. And there was another private case where you would just go to the basement, and the girlfriend was afraid to stay there. You would just go in the basement, and your hair would just stand up on your arms and your neck, and it was intense. So.
And then actually another question that popped in is, have you came across anything that was like demonic or within the dark side of the paranormal?
As a child, yes. Not as an investigator, no. As a teenager, yes.
And then the next question is, how many members are on the team that you guys you do in Salt City?
We have a small team. I'm looking for team members. There's 2 other women on my team, so it's an all-female team.
That's good. You know what I mean? Makes things probably a lot easier for you guys.
Yeah, it would be kind of nice to have a male so they could carry the equipment bags in. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Actually, an interesting question was, what is your take on other paranormal stuff like aliens, werewolves, vampires? Some of the problem with the word paranormal is it touches everything, and that's why I always try to. I was saying paranormal investigator, but you almost have to say ghost hunter. I mean, it brings it right to what it is. I have had a third kind encounter before.
I believe there's Bigfoot. Actually, my sister was witness to the third kind encounter, so we just talked about it a week ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've always said with Bigfoot that if there is a Bigfoot, there's actually a larger population than what
Yes.
people think because of how many wide variety of sightings there have been throughout
Yeah.
the regions.
And I believe in like the Loch Ness monster, Lake Champy, that kind of thing. I believe there's like unknown creatures out there that we have not discovered. We're always finding new species of like, I don't know, butterflies, and why not Bigfoot and the lake monsters?
Actually, an interesting question is, do you still hunt, like, because you said initially that you did start hunting for like Bigfoot and stuff. Do you still pursue that a little bit or no?
No, just I primarily focus on ghosts and spirits now. Yes.
And
Not
then,
that I would never go. I would love to go out and look for Bigfoot.
and what about it? Your most disturbing footage or voice recording? Something that might have made an impact on you.
Um, the voice that we got at Palmyra that said "Get out." It was a deep male voice. That is so far the most disturbing voice recording we have. Really, I debunk a lot. Sometimes I throw it out. When in doubt, just throw it out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I mean, if you're gonna show stuff publicly or to an individual, you want to be sure. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You want to make sure you're absolutely sure this is
Right.
something that they not necessarily believable, but something that they can hear it and know that it wasn't something else.
Right.
And actually, a great question. I haven't had really the honor of doing this myself. How is it having a psychic on an investigation? Like, is it a different kind of investigating style, or?
No, because I am an empath myself, so I can feel energy when I go into something. Yes. So no, because the psychics I take sometimes are just they ghost hunt along with me, so they do a regular ghost hunt, but they'll just come in and say I sense blah 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 here, and they will say names and stuff like that. So like Roger. I feel that there's a Roger here. Is there a Roger here? That kind of thing. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've literally never really had the opportunity yet. I think it's coming. I actually got to meet one of the psychics locally, and possibly working a little bit more with her.
Nice.
So that should be interesting. I'm hoping. Just because I've never really had that experience.
Mhm.
And then, actually, if you'd like to talk a little bit about your shows that you do, your book, I'd love to have that in here as well, so people can know.
Well, I don't have a book out now. I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book on my experiences I had as a teenager. I had a severe demonic haunting as a teenager. I lived with a family that was into supposedly witchcraft, but it was more ritual magic kind of things. And when I lived with them, I slept out in the living room, so I had a lot of experiences there, even a physical attack. So I am writing about my experiences. I do write for Paranormal Enlightenment magazine, which I did a story on 13 Curves, and I did another story on Willard. Willard in May had that where they opened it to the public.
Yeah, the open house, yep.
Yeah, and I went to that, and I did the research on Willard, the historical research on how people were treated through asylums and things like that in the 1800s. So.
Yeah, and the 13 Corners is in Syracuse area.
Yeah.
Yep. I've actually heard quite a few things about that.
I actually did a documentary with a SU student on 13 Curves. So, and when I went to Scaricon, he filmed the documentary there, and he actually took my views on it and made it. And supposedly, it's going into a commercial for tourism. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
And then you also do a radio show. Would you like to?
Yes. I belong to DTM Wicked Radio. We're on iHeart, Blog Talk, and my radio show is called The Sisterhood of Women in the Paranormal, which the general basis was when I was on this team in Syracuse, a local team, it was a boys' club, and I was one of the women that belonged to it, but they didn't really treat the women respectably. So I quit that team. And then my friends had a chance to open this network called DTM Wicked Radio. And they asked me to be part of it and if I wanted to do a radio show. And I said, sure. And I came up with a Sisterhood of Women in the Paranormal because I knew some women out there were struggling a little bit with like a male dominated field back in 2010 and 2009. So I started in 2013 this radio show. But now I have a variety of people on my show, including males. So
very cool. I honestly I love hearing that. I mean that's awesome. And another question actually popped up in the chat as well is how do you guys go through researching a location before you go in?
We go and we talk to the Historical Society. We look online. We'll even, if someone knows about something about the house, we'll interview them. There's a variety of things we do. So there is a wonderful website out there called Fulton Postcards. It is a great website, and it's this guy out in Fulton, New York, who took all the clippings of newspaper articles and posted them in this website.
Oh, that's
so you just type in a word, and all the newspaper articles for the local area will come back, and he has them all the way back to the 1800s. So.
And actually, a great question that also popped up for a beginner that's looking to join in the ghost hunting field. What would you recommend as a piece of equipment for them to probably start out with?
This is what I tell when I interview new team members. Get a digital recorder, electronic digital recorder. Get a camera. That's all you need to start out with. And then if you want to expand, you can expand your equipment over time.
And then what time and what day is your show? And if I can get the link for it as well, if you want to send it to me after the show, I'll be happy to put that right in the description.
Sure.
Many individuals are saying they'd love to listen.
My show is every Tuesday at 6 p.m. on WWDTM Wicked Radio. My next guest is Sean Patrick out of Buffalo. He is a psychic. He does a lot of things. He's into paranormal healing. He does a lot of that. He's a reverend, so he does a lot of that. He actually does exorcisms, so he does a lot.
I'm just seeing if there's any other questions popping up as well. Now the demonic stuff that happened to you, was that actually locally or?
Yes, it was a family that, when I was a teen, my family became homeless. My dad lost his job, so we were renters. We lost the house. my family was renting, and I had to go live with a friend, and they were managers of a local band, but they also had this like, and part of the band was part of this thing. They had this like Calvin. I don't. It was hard. It was kept really hush hush, a cult kind of thing, and where they did a lot of black magic rituals and conjuring and things like that. So, yeah.
And is there any like local places within Syracuse you'd like to get into, or?
I would love to investigate Happy Valley one of these days. Yeah, if you guys don't know about Happy Valley, it's woods up north, and they say there's a vortex there, and it's near Parrish, I believe. And there was an old town there that like was wiped out. All the people in the town, they don't know what happened to all the people in the town. It just was wiped out. And there's ruins of the town there, and you can hear the church bells ringing, apparently, from the town, and there's no church there.
Huh.
So, and strange things have been reported in that area. It's state forest. Supposedly Bigfoot's there too, so I would love to investigate that. Also, I would love to investigate that Split Rock one of these days. So, where the explosion happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember hearing about that actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
People,
and,
people said they could still hear the explosion.
Right, and Belhurst Castle, they won't let anybody in there, but that would be like amazing if I could investigate Belhurst Castle.
I actually, I thought there was a couple teams that did get in there.
Oh, wow.
But I actually, we can talk about it after the show. I may be able to swing something, hopefully.
Okay.
So let me, we'll talk about that after the show a little bit.
And Willard, they never let any teams in Willard, and because a TV team went in there, TV show went in there and ruined it for everyone.
Yeah,
so,
Paranormal State actually was the...
Yeah. So it's really hard to, they won't let any teams into Willard, but I would love to investigate Willard.
Yeah, I know the difficult part with it is the aspect that the sheriff's depot is now,
the corrections owns
is now affiliated with it.
Yeah, the State Department of Corrections own it, yes.
But I'm not actually seeing too many more questions. I'd like to thank you for coming on and doing the interview. And,
thank you.
Again, if you can send me the link, I will definitely put that in the description below.
All right.
I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, and everybody, thank you for your questions and so forth. If you'd like to get a hold of Tammy, is there an easy way for them to get a hold of you? If you'd like to shout that out.
Yeah. We are I'm on Facebook, Salt City Paranormal Investigations. I am on Twitter under Salt City Paranormal Investigations. I'm on Facebook for my radio show, The Sisterhood of Women in the Paranormal. Or you could go to www.dtmwickedradio.com and follow the links. You'll find me there.
All right. And thanks again, everybody. Don't forget next Friday, or this upcoming Friday, we have our next show of the Spirit Box Weekly. And also, everybody have a beautiful weekend and a happy Thanksgiving to everybody that celebrates Thanksgiving.
All right, everyone. Thank you. Have a good night.